This hour by Frederick Remington, fully cooked, ready-to-eat bacon. Exclusive, no refrigeration, 10-year extended shelf life bacon. The thickest, meatiest, center-cut bacon in the industry at fullycookedbacon.com.
The stocks discussed on Wall Street Raw are not in any way a recommendation or solicitation to buy, sell, or hold. If considering on acting on information, we first recommend you seek out a competent, licensed professional for advice.
What kingdom has sent you?
The kingdom of the Most High.
Nothing you have ever experienced can prepare you for the unbridled carnage you're about to witness. The Super Bowl, the World Series, they don't know what pressure is. In this building, it's either kill or be killed. You make no friends in the pits and you take no prisoners. 1 minute, you're up $500,000 in soybeans, and the next, boom, your kids don't go to college and they've repossessed your Bentley. Are you with me?
The Genesis Communication Network is proud to bring you Wall Street Raw with nationally recognized market timer and previous Wall Street Week elf, Mark Leibovit, welcoming you on board his financial time machine. And here is the elf himself, Mark Leibovit.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. It is Saturday, April 14th. Thank you for joining us here on Wall Street Raw. As I say always, you have a lot of choices on a Saturday morning. We certainly appreciate you tuning in. And it's been a wild and woolly first and now second quarter for the stock market, and volatility will probably continue. But, when you look back a bit and you look at over the century, I know that's a long time to look at. The Dow always seems to go back to new highs, even though we have these huge shakeouts and corrections along the way. So the weight of the evidence still says, the bulls are overall in charge, but it appears between now and fall there still could be some further volatility, and we try to address that on our program as best we can. But right now, Wall Street seems to be overreacting to Trump's tariffs on China, and every once in a while, Wall Street has a fit. One day it's up, one day it's down, depending on how big the tariffs are going to be and whether negotiations are going to happen or not. But sometimes it's warranted, and the tantrum falls into the latter category, because it seems to be unwarranted at the moment. About a week ago, Trump upped the ante on the tariff game. As you know, he proposed an additional $100 billion in potential tariffs. So the U.S. and China, the two largest economies, jostle over a tiny percentage of their multi-trillion-dollar GDPs to make a point and to score points. So essentially, this whole tariff thing is sort of irrelevant on the big picture, but Wall Street uses its finest calculus, egged on by Trump-bashing media personalities dressed up as journalists, and we're pretty critical of them, to extrapolate that we are an all-out trade war, which is really not the case. What is so baffling about the tariff tantrum is that it was an issue on which the president campaigned. There's not an economist with a shred of credibility who thinks the U.S. gets treated fairly by China, especially when it comes to intellectual property. Wall Street is chock full of pseudo-intellectuals who went on to schools and got good grades, but the vast majority lack the ability to think critically, especially at critical moments. And, we talked about forever in our newsletter and on the radio about economists are probably the worst proponents of market forecasting. Meanwhile, remember when the markets were going to hell if Gary Kahn ever left the White House? Well, Kahn had a disagreement with the president and resigned over the proposed tariffs. The markets were just fine. The second biggest overhyped myth on the planet is that China could sell our bonds. And my opinion is, please do, China, and rip the Band-Aid off quickly. China's stake is only a one-day trading volume, just to get a perspective in terms of that really happened. And the Fed would probably come in there and pick up the bonds anyway. I get that many journalists have different political persuasion than Trump, but numerous presidents have had trade disputes. President Obama, I don't know if you recall, slapped a 35% tariff on Chinese automobile and light truck tires. And that wasn't so long ago. He wasn't vilified. He was sticking up for the worker. So in essence, Trump put the proposed tariffs out there to bring a negotiating partner to the table and make the playing field more even. Just to get a perspective of some of the statistics out there, folks, some of these will blow you away. China has 19% of the world's population, but consumes 35% of the world's cement, 48% of the world's iron ore, and 47% of the world's coal, okay? And the majority of just about every other commodity. In 2010, China produced 11 times more steel than the United States, okay? New world record, China made and sold 18 million vehicles at that time. There are more pigs in China than in the next 43 pork-producing countries combined. China currently has the world's fastest train and the world's largest high-speed rail network. And China is currently the #1 producer in the world of the wind and solar power, but doesn't really use it themselves. We keep hearing about all the pollution over there, right? Meanwhile, while they manufacture 80% of the world's solar panels, they install less than 5% and build a new coal-fired power station just about every week. In 1 year, they turn on more coal-powered electricity than Australia's total output. China currently controls more than 90% of the total global supply of rare earth elements, which has been a big dispute here. And apparently there was a scandal that we can talk about in a future broadcast where a big American company that produced rare earths was acquired when it shouldn't have been. It's almost like that Uranium One debacle. In the past 15 years, China has moved from the 14th place to the 2nd place in the world in published scientific research articles, and China possesses the fastest supercomputer on the entire globe. At the end of 2011, China has accumulated over $3 trillion in U.S. foreign currency reserves, the largest stockpile on the entire globe. Chinese people consume 50,000 cigarettes every second. They're already the largest carbon dioxide emitter, and their output will rise 70% by 2020, according to some estimates that we read. And maybe they discovered that CO2 makes plants grow faster and faster. Wow, and we think they're saving the planet. It will not make one iota of difference what we do in Australia, Canada, the United States, or anywhere else in the world for that matter. All the politicians are doing is increasing our cost of living and making our manufacturing uncompetitive in the world market when countries like China are growing, consuming at extraordinary rates. So getting a little bit of perspective there, that's something that's really important. And here we are sitting on April 14th, and I don't know if you remember your history or not, but this is the day that Lincoln was assassinated back in 1865. We talked about the April period as being tumultuous in terms of world events, whether it's going to affect the market. But tomorrow, the 15th, was when the anniversary day of that Boston Marathon bombing back in 2013. If you're interested, the sinking of the Titanic occurred April 15th, 1912. The Virginia Tech shootings occurred on April 16th, 2007. The San Francisco earthquake on April 18th, 1906. That big Texas fertilizer plant explosion occurred on April 18, 2013. The Oklahoma City bombing occurred April 19, 1995. The Waco Branch Davidian ending occurred on April 19, 1993. The Columbine shootings, that was April 20th, 1999. The Deepwater Horizon rig explosion was back on April 20th, 2010. The Allianz Plaza collapse, that was April 23rd, 1987. And a lot of other things affected millions of people. Adolf Hitler's birthday was April 20th, 1889, and we got to throw that one in too. So what we're saying is we're still in this, somewhat tumultuous period. Some may go away. Does that apply? Well, April rally and then down again. The political uncertainty of Democrats taking more House seats or maybe a Senate seat or two come in the fall with the midterm elections is something that could jostle the markets as we get closer and closer to that time frame. I'm not making any predictions about what's going to happen at that point, though I am more optimistic about what Trump is doing and feel, as I have since the very beginning, that he could be and it has been a very big success, but that could jostle the markets, folks. So we're watching all those. Here we are in mid-April. And we'll keep you posted, obviously, at vrtrader.com. And there's a quick plug. vrtrader.com does have that new VR Trading Addict service. And we are launching a VR crypto letter project here in about a week or so. So if you go to vrtrader.com and go to the website, you'll see the VR Trading Addict. In just a few days, we'll have that new VR crypto product up there. We want you all to try those out. Don't touch your dial. We'll be back after the break with some more commentary and our good friend, Don VIALOUX.
You're listening to Wall Street Raw with Mark Leibovit. Go to wallstreetrawradio.com for information on Mark's newsletters and products. Stay tuned. Mark will be right back.
sound of a house being trashed while a gang of thieves ransack the place. And what they don't steal will be destroyed.
This year, resolve not to be the next victim of a break-in. Go to faketv.com and discover a device that creates the illusion someone inside is watching TV, even when you're miles away. Security is a mindset, and Fake TV should be part of your security solution. Be vigilant, but not fearful. faketv.com.
Extendivite really works. Just listen to what some people have to say.
About 6 months ago, my wife bought Extendivite. She didn't tell me she was giving it to me. So after about 3 days, I said, maybe the weather's changed or something. I said, my legs feel really good. And she goes, well, I've been giving you this stuff, and it was the Extendivite. And you know that I'm about 75% better. I can actually climb stairs now, and I can get up out of chairs. I can even get down and, I have to work under a table or a computer table and work on a computer. I can actually get back up off the floor. You know what? It's an amazing product. I didn't think anything short of having surgery was going to help.
Extendivite is only $69.95 for a 2-month supply of either capsules or liquid. Call now. That's 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendivite.
Fully cooked, ready-to-eat bacon. I'm talking thick, meaty, center-cut presidential bacon. Savory and delicious. I buy some, I use some, I store some. Awesome. No refrigeration needed with a 10-year shelf life. NASA pack technology. Bacon. Fully cooked, fully hydrated, ready to eat right from the packed bacon. Or warm and served. Life-saving, ready-to-eat bacon. 10-year shelf life bacon. Ships free at fullycookedbacon.com. fullycookedbacon.com.
Healthcare reform is confusing, but whether it's finding an affordable insurance plan, keeping your doctor, or being able to afford needed prescriptions, navigating the healthcare system has become a challenge. Control your own healthcare costs and choices with Liberty HealthShare. Liberty HealthShare is not insurance. It is an association of self-pay patients who unite with like-minded people to share the cost of each other's medical needs. Neighbor helping neighbor. Learn more now by going to libertyoncall.org. That's libertyoncall.org.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, the inventor of MyPillow, and like all of you out there, I had problems sleeping. Pillows would go flat, I would flip-flop all night long, I would wake up with a sore neck, maybe a headache, or feel like I needed a nap even though I slept 8 hours. When I invented MyPillow, I wanted it to where you can move the patented fill to give you the exact support you need as an individual, regardless of sleep position. MyPillow will get you into that deep REM sleep faster, and you will stay there longer. It's not about how much time we spend in bed, it's about how much of that quality sleep we get. I do all of my own manufacturing right here in the United States. I have a 10-year warranty. You can wash and dry my pillow, and I give you a 60-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose. And here's my best offer ever. You can buy one of my pillows and get one absolutely free.
Go to mypillow.com or call 800-870-0305 and use promo code GCN. That's mypillow.com or 800-870-0305 with promo code GCN.
Anytime, any place, anywhere. Radio remains the most intimate of all forms of media. At home, at work, in the car, on smartphones. Over 90% of consumers still listen to radio every week. That makes choosing radio as a place to advertise your business one of the best decisions you can make. Email advertise@gcnlive.com and partner up with an experienced GCN representative. Advertise@gcnlive.com. Easy, affordable, effective.
Think positive. Never show any sign of weakness. Always go for the throat. Buy low, sell high. Fear, that's the other guy's problem.
Welcome back to the Wall Street Raw Radio Show with Mark Leibovit, your time machine for the financial markets. Want to know more? Go to wallstreetrawradio.com. Now, here's the elf himself, Mark Leibovit.
Welcome back to Wall Street Raw on this Saturday, April 14th. always excited that you took the time to tune in, and we try to do our best here at Wall Street Raw to try to bring you a lot of interesting guests and commentary from all different perspectives, from financial astrology all the way down to pure fundamental research. And as you know, we produce a lot of very interesting products ourselves at VR Trader, from a gold letter to a cannabis spice letter to just about anything that seems to be moving and active in the market. So thank you again for tuning in. Our good friend Don Vialou is on the phone, and Don is very kind to spend a little time with us again on this weekend. There's so much going on in the markets. We are here in mid-April, but a lot of stuff coming in regarding to earnings. Good morning, Don. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me back, Mark. Yes, lots of things happening next week. That's when first quarter earnings start to flood in. Now, a record number of S&P 500 companies, that's 53 so far, already have reported or issued earnings guidance which are positive prior to their release. So that's really good news, even prior to release of these numbers. Mm-hmm. The consensus shows the first quarter earnings for S&P 500 companies are expected to increase 17.2% on a year-over-year basis. Sales are expected to increase by 7.3%.
Wow. Okay. And the pattern ties into the market nicely this time of year, correct? We usually get a little pop around these first quarter earnings reports, correct?
Yes, historically, the month of April is actually the second strongest month of the year. Now, this year, there will be certain sectors that probably do better than others because of the way the earnings reports are going to be coming out for the big S&P 500 companies. Now, the strongest gains by far are expected to be reported by the energy sector, with a year-over-year increase of 78%. Other strong sectors include materials with a 47% increase, information technology with a 22% increase, and financials with a 20% increase. You can see a theme here. The economically sensitive sectors are expected to report the highest first quarter results.
And earnings prospects even better beyond the first quarter, you think?
Yeah, that's fascinating. First quarter looks good. Second quarter looks better. Consensus calls for a 19.1% increase in S&P 500 companies' earnings in the second quarter. And the third quarter is even better. Consensus is calling for a 20.9% increase in third quarter earnings on a year-over-year basis.
So let's step back a little bit and put on our philosophical thinking hats here. Generally, good news at the top, bad news at the bottom. Do you think perhaps the fact that all the earnings reports are so good that the stock market peaked out basically at the January, early February, that perhaps that the market may be telling us something going forward that we don't realize yet, or am I just being too cynical?
Actually, you're right on, Mark. In this case, we're looking for equity markets in the United States to move higher in the month of April because of very, very strong quarter results. However, historically, in a midterm election year like we have this year, there tends to be a problem as we get farther into the year. Between around the beginning of May right through until October during a midterm election year, we often see equity markets, particularly U.S. equity markets, moving significantly lower. And that's because of increased volatility that normally occurs during that time with all the political rhetoric that starts to ramp up. Now, this particular year, the political rhetoric is expected to be even stronger than usual, and that's because of the possibility of a change in control of Congress, particularly in the House of Representatives, possibility that Republicans could lose their control, and that means a whole new ball of wax.
Right. The markets, since it was a big Trump rally, are not going to be too excited about that. So we won't know until we get to that point in time, but it's going to ruffle the feathers of the market up to that point possibly, too. So the warnings that we saw technically in February could be real. We got to see if those. Let's talk about support levels here a little bit. For both the U.S. markets and for the TSX. I mean, what levels would we have to break, in your opinion, to say that something more significant is happening to the downside?
Yeah, it's been fascinating because last week we saw the Dow Jones Industrial Average, the S&P 500 Index, and the Russell 2000 Index all pop up from a very important important technical level. That's the 200-day moving average. As long as these indices stay above those 200-day moving averages, the market is probably going to be into gear. If we ever do break those 200-day moving averages, then you have a problem. My guessing is that we're going to be okay in the month of April. We'll hold above those 200-day moving averages. You could even make some short-term trading moves during the month of April. But after that, be careful. Those 200-day moving averages are moving higher, and over time, by definition, they're going to have more and more difficulty continuing that upward trend. And that result is that sometime, probably this summer, we're probably going to have a corrective phase in U.S. equity markets.
We have about a minute or so, Don. Let's take a moment to talk a little bit about EquityClock.com and the fine work you and your son do at Equity Clock. Tell our listeners a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's a free service. Not too many things are free nowadays, but this is a free service. And what happens with that particular site, you go into it and click on charts, and you can pull off the seasonality on 25,000 different securities. That includes all the major market indices, all the major equities, say the S&P 500, for example, all the major commodities, all the major ETFs, all the major bonds. There's a huge amount of information there, and the price is right. It's free.
I know. I use it all the time. So many of these studies are based on, I believe, 20-year patterns?
Yes, we prefer to have 20 years. If you use a shorter period of time, then say if you only use, say, 5 years, then one or two numbers could disrupt the averages. So 20 years is the preferred period of time. You could do it with less. 10 years is probably the minimum number of periods you want to use for seasonality. But, if you use 20 years, you're more likely to get a very good feel for what's happening from a seasonal point of view.
Yeah, very powerful tool, combining the seasonal patterns for the various individual stocks and the big markets, and tying in with the short-term technical patterns is a very, very, as I said, powerful combination. Don, you've done a great job in putting all that together. We use it all the time. We use visuals at our website. Thank you, Don VIALOUX from EquityClock.com, and also you can reach him at TimingTheMarket.ca. Thank you again, and have a great weekend, Don.
Thank you, Mark.
Don VIALOUX from EquityClock.com and TimingTheMarket.ca. I don't want you to touch your dial. We have our good friend Arch Crawford coming up again for an encore interview here in just a few moments. We'll be right back.
Go to WallStreetRawRadio.com for more information on Mark's newsletters and products. Stay tuned. Mark will be right back.
High-performance investors and traders use superior financial tools to achieve superior returns. You have that tool with Mark Leibovit, nationally renowned top market timer, legendary television Wall Street Week elf, and nightly business report market monitor, who shares with you his unique market tools and commentary at WallStreetRaw.com. Here, Mark provides you with his latest ideas on how to help build and protect your wealth and help you avoid the next big market tsunami. Mark has a special free gift for listeners of his Wall Street Raw radio show. Go to WallStreetRaw.com and sign up for his free monthly Cannabis Vice News Raw report. While there, go ahead and sign up for his free monthly Gold News Raw report. Both are totally free. No credit card information is required, and no one will call. Sign up today for your free Cannabis Vice News Raw report and Gold News Raw report at WallStreetRaw.com.
Normal blood pressure, naturally. How would that make you feel?
I'm Don from New Mexico. January of 2000, I had a heart attack. Then my real health began going downhill. I had high blood pressure, diabetes, poor vision. I wasn't sleeping well. I was a mess.
Don reports dramatic improvements with Heart and Body Extract.
I started taking Heart and Body Extract. From within a few days, I started sleeping better. My blood pressure normalized. My diabetes normalized. My sleep improved.
Experience these benefits and more when your body heals itself with the assistance of Heart and Body Extract. Order at hbextract.com or call 866-295-5305. That's hbextract.com or call 866-295-5305.
And folks, I did not expect this at all. By the 7th, 8th, and 9th day, I saw dramatic improvements from taking Heart and Body Extract.
Heart and Body Extract comes with a 100% ironclad money-back guarantee. Details at hbextract.com or call 866-295-5305 for Heart and Body Extract.
It's been said, any society is only 3 missed meals away from chaos. Those times may be near. Think about it. Our country faces multiple terrorist threats and aggressions from Russia and North Korea. Social unrest and violent marches yet again may lead to looting of stores and city shutdowns. And a crumbling infrastructure leaves our power grid vulnerable to long-term outages from a single cyber attack. When the chaos from any one of these threats arises, the government knows it can't provide during a widespread national emergency. That's why you need your own plan for self-reliance. That's where My Patriot Supply comes in. Get a 4-week survival food supply for only $99. That includes breakfast, lunches, and dinners. Order online at preparewithgcn.com. $99 for 4 weeks of survival food that tastes like homemade cooking and lasts up to 25 years from My Patriot Supply. Get your kits today at preparewithgcn.com. Free shipping is included. Preparewithgcn.com.
Have you checked your Google search results lately? Search results are usually the first impression that people form of you or your business, so make sure that they create a positive impression with ReputationDefender.com. What the Internet says about you can have a big impact on your life and your livelihood, even if it's not true. Fortunately, you can now control how you look online and in online search results with ReputationDefender.com. Call 800-831-0771 now. That's 800-831-0771 for your free reputation analysis. If you have negative material from an ex-employee, upset patient, or former client, newspaper article, legal issue, social media, or other source showing up in your search results, you can combat it with ReputationDefender.com. Our dedicated experts in patented technology can help make your online search results look their best. Call 800-831-0771 to learn more. 800-831-0771. That's 800-831-0771. Or visit ReputationDefender.com.
Welcome back to Wall Street Raw. Want to know more about Wall Street Raw and the Leibovit VR newsletters? Go to wallstreetrawradio.com.
Welcome back to Wall Street Raw. I'm your host, Mark Leibovit, and most appreciative, as always, that you tune in on Saturday morning and listen to our show. We always try to line up a whole series of very special guests. And one of them is my very good friend for many decades, Arch Crawford, who was kind enough to join us on this Saturday morning. Arch's reputation precedes him. He's been a technical analyst, and he was one of the top technical analysts, and he worked way back with Bob Farrell in the early 1960s on Wall Street. He did extensive research into the astrophysical phenomenon, astrology, and its correlation to the market performance. And he's edited his Crawford Perspectives newsletter for many decades. You may have seen him on all the major television networks, including CNBC. And I always joke that no matter who you were on Wall Street, someone's got a closet astrologer in their back pocket, and it's usually Arch Crawford. So it's always a pleasure having Arch on the show. And we're going to talk a little bit about the more generic aspects of what he does and the bigger picture views. Good morning, Arch. Thank you again for joining us.
Delighted to be here.
Wow, so much going on in the markets in the past several months. Many are calling for the beginning of a bear market, particularly after such a huge multi-year advance. Others are suggesting it's just a correction, particularly since Trump is still in charge and the economy seems to be getting better. Let's chat a little bit about your intermediate views for the market, if you have a moment.
Well, basically, my long-term experience is that the market tends to top out 4 to 6 months, 4 to 9 months before the economic statistics shift. So you can't depend on the economics to predict the stock market, because the stock market predicts the economics.
Mm-hmm.
So better the technical analysis, and if you're breaking important support levels and moving averages and trend lines, then that's what's going to be important for the economy later.
Have you seen first signs of that in your work?
Well, we have. The top was an astronomic day that I sent out to everybody that had ever subscribed before, and I put it on Google, and I put it on LinkedIn, and I put it on Facebook, and I put it on MarketWatch, that it was going to be a very, very powerful date around January the 25th, plus or minus 3 days, and the top was the following day in American markets, and it was the exact day in the Japanese market.
Wow.
And then, of course, we went down to the 200-day moving average in the SPX and close to it in the NASDAQ, and not quite down to it in the Dow Jones. Then we rallied back up a decent percentage, a little more than a normal 618 retracement. And then we started down again. And so far we've stopped, although some of the indexes hit a lower low close, none of them broke the actual low of the previous low that took place on February 5th or 6th.
Arch, in your newsletter, you talk about April, and here we are in April now, has ugly yet powerful history for the United States. Let's talk a little bit about those great dates that you have in your letter.
Okay, well, what's actually happening in the sky in April is that the three most negative powerful planets, Mars, Saturn, and Pluto, are considered malefics by the ancients, and because things that you don't like to happen, but they're teaching instruments of our soul or our spirit, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing is that the three malefic planets will be in 12 1/4 degrees of each other. I mean, they'll all three be within the 12 1/4 degrees. Mars, Saturn, and Pluto. And from the 2nd of April to the 26th of April. And the history of the United States is that we started, the revolution started, the attack on Fort Sumter started, the Civil War, the bombings of the destruction of Waco, and the following a few years later the Oklahoma bombing. Both were on the 19th of April. Hitler was born on the 20th, and there's just a raft of other things that
President Lincoln was assassinated then too, right?
Oh yes, and I think there was a bomb in Beirut destroyed our embassy there in 1983, on the 19th also. So the 19th has been where the greatest part has been centered, and we'll see what happens, because that Mars-Pluto conjunction is on the 26th. And that's one of the nastiest. I just read in the paper yesterday that that's the date that North and South Korea are going to get together to talk about getting together or speaking to each other. And I would say that that's the most hostile day, period. That I don't think much will come of it in any positive way, certainly.
Yeah, and I read also that Khrushchev had his famous quote that in that time period, "We will bury you," in mid-April too, right?
Well, no, he was born in mid-April.
Oh, I see.
I don't know when he gave that talk. I'll have to look that up.
Okay. So all these negative events, of course, they're significant to our daily lives and the political world. Will they affect the stock market, do you think? Is that what you're really saying?
Well, some of those events did affect the stock market rather dramatically. At the beginning of World War I, for instance, they closed the market for 4 months. That's the longest it's ever been shut down. Then at the beginning of, after 9/11, it was closed the third longest period, I think, from the 11th to the 17th of September 01. And the following week was the worst week in the market since the fall of France in May of 1940. So that some of these events were very great, but I think the bombings in Waco and Oklahoma City didn't affect the market hardly at all. And actually, Pearl Harbor affected it very little, and it was only down like a little over 8%, like by Wednesday after the Sunday. And that was the worst. That was the worst.
March, I know, unfortunately, we ran out of time. Arch Crawford, I want all of you to go to CrawfordPerspectives.com to get some of these great insights. Great letter. We've used it, read it, studied it for years, and it's always a pleasure having Arch on the show. Arch, the interview went really fast. We had a very short segment. Arch Crawford from Crawford Perspectives, and we'll talk to you again real soon. Thank you. Thank you, Arch. And don't touch your dial, folks. We'll be back right after the break with our good friend Sinclair Now.
You are listening to Wall Street Raw with Mark Leibovit. Go to wallstreetrawradio.com for information on Mark's newsletters and products. Stay tuned. Mark will be right back.
High-performance investors and traders use superior financial tools to achieve superior returns. You have that tool with Mark Leibovit, nationally renowned top market timer, legendary television Wall Street Week elf, and nightly business report market monitor, who shares with you his unique market tools and commentary at wallstreetraw.com. At wallstreetraw.com, Mark provides you with his latest ideas on how to help build and protect your wealth and help you avoid the next big market crash. Mark has a special free gift for listeners of his Wall Street Raw radio show. Go to wallstreetraw.com and sign up for his free monthly Cannabis Vice News Raw report. While there, go ahead and sign up for his free monthly Gold News Raw report. Both are totally free. No credit card information is required. Sign up today for your free Cannabis Vice News Raw and Gold News Raw reports at wallstreetraw.com. That's wallstreetraw.com.
I tried other brands, but I came back to My Sunshine.
For the best hot or cold pain relief, get the best. Get a Sunny Bay heating pad.
Sometimes life can be a pain in the neck or back or shoulder.
And the best relief for that pain is a Sunny Bay heating pad. Did you know that the American College of Physicians said that one of the best ways to treat muscle pain is heat therapy? Sunny Bay heating pads are handmade with high quality, can be used at home or at work, and have a lifetime 100% positive rating on both Amazon and Etsy.
Why take another pill?
Many people use our Sunny Bay heating pads alone and got rid of the neck pain.
Long distance travel or long hours in front of a computer can take its toll on your body.
See why our homegrown small business at sunny-bay.com has tried to help people just like you. Get your Sunny Bay heating pads at sunny-bay.com. That's sunny-bay.com or call 253-678-1361 for hot and cold therapy. sunny-bay.com.
It's a no-brainer. A Big Berkey water filter is the one you need, period. You need a water filter that removes chlorine, fluoride, pharmaceuticals, BPA, and other endocrine disruptors, pesticides, bacteria, viruses, and much more, right? And does it all at only 2 cents per gallon. Get the original and most trusted name in gravity water filtration, Big Berkey. And now GCN listeners receive 5% off ceramic filter systems using code GCN. Call or click 1-877-99-BERKEY or BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com. That's 1-877-99-BERKEY.
Warning, if you're drowning in debt you can't afford, do not let the credit card companies trick you into thinking that you have to pay it all back, because you don't. What the credit card companies don't want you to know is that there's actually a way to get debt-free without paying off your entire debt or going bankrupt. If you have $5,000 or more in credit card debt, you now have the right to let us settle that debt for a fraction of what you owe. For free information, call Credit Associates now. 1-800-959-5759. We'll even show you how much money you could save. If you can't afford to pay off all your debt, do not let the credit card companies trick you into thinking that you have to. Call Credit Associates now for free information on how to get debt-free faster than you ever thought possible without debt consolidation or bankruptcy. We depend on your success and offer a guarantee, so there's no risk. For free information, call now. 1-800-959-5759. That's 1-800-959-5759. 1-800-959-5759.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists, get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Sling bow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of sling bow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Responsibility begins and ends with our partners and our shareholders, and that's it.
There is no freedom without the law.
Get it? Got it? Good.
Welcome back to Wall Street Raw and the final segment with Mark Leibovit. Now, here's the elf himself.
Welcome back to Wall Street Raw on this Saturday, April 14th. Always a pleasure knowing that you took the time to tune in. A lot of other choices on a Saturday morning, and here we are at Wall Street Raw, ready and able and willing to present a lot of, well, many cases, conflicting views of the market. But one of the more reliable commentators that we use in terms of our consistency and his perspective on the markets is our good friend Sinclair No from KFNN 1510 Phoenix, and author of the incomparable blog EatTheBankers.com, where we also focus on the banks behaving badly segment, which has been, a real strong point with Sinclair over the years, talking about what's happening in our banking system. And most recently we've seen what happened with Wells Fargo, and things finally caught up with them a little bit, where the Federal Reserve finally stepped in and said, hey, you guys got to get your act together, otherwise you just can't go on continuing what you're doing, which was a big step in the right direction. Sinclair, welcome to the show.
Mark, good morning. Good to be with you.
Well, just touching on that Wells Fargo story briefly, even though they didn't put anybody in jail, they at least froze them in their tracks, at least temporarily. So maybe we're making some progress with the banks.
Maybe, but at the same time, I think we're seeing an attempt to deregulate the banks, and that should be a little bit concerning. The banks are, quite frankly, making plenty of money. They're not having a problem with that. They're building up their capital reserves, and they are less risky in some regards because of that. But they probably wouldn't have done that if there had not been regulation imposed on them to do that. The bankers have a very bad reputation about doing the right thing, just as a course of business, as a business model. We know that, and we've seen them get involved in all kinds of shady deals. You think about the situation with Wells Fargo, for example. Basically, all they're saying is, until you get your accounting in order, until you stop making bogus accounts out of thin air, not approved by clients, we're just going to tell you to stand still. They're not sending people to jail. They're not closing down the bank. They're just saying you can't grow anymore. You can't build and grow profits above and beyond this level until you get your house in order.
Not enough,
if everybody
right?
If everybody was treated that way, the jails would be empty. They're not. I don't know how they get away with it, but they do consistently without fail. The unfortunate thing is that since there is such lax enforcement, and since we are moving towards a little bit more towards deregulation, I think it's just a matter of time until the banks misbehave, get in trouble, and you know who they're going to come running to when that happens. They'll come running to the taxpayer. They'll come running to the Federal Reserve. They'll come running for a bailout again, and we'll be forced to do it because at that point there's no choice. We can take our medicine now, impose some regulation on the banks now, or down the road we'll pay for it.
Well, the banks and Wall Street are sleeping together, so we know there's only so far the government's going to do with regard to regulating them. Goldman Sachs, of course, converted to a bank right after the crash, so there are reasons why they do stuff like that.
Well, there will come a time. You think the markets have been wild and volatile lately. There will come a time when volatility will hit. And one day we'll look around, I think, and say 1,500 point swing, that's nothing.
Right. We had a little bit of a flash crash back in 2010 when I was sitting in a dentist chair, but now we broke that when we saw the February sell-off intraday. It really we have to come to expect it, Sinclair. Markets are higher and higher and higher, and the percentages, when you have these type of declines, are smaller and smaller in terms of relative to where we've been many years ago. So it's just part of the game.
1,000 point swing is not what it was in 1987. I get that. But we are seeing volatility returning to the markets after 2017 was one of the quietest years ever as far as volatility. We had very few days where we would even see a 1% swing one way or the other, up or down, didn't really matter. Now we're seeing that all over the place. It's very common to see 1 percentage point gain or even 2 now. And of course, now we're talking 2 percentage points. We're talking 400, 500. Then we're getting up into 600 point swings. And those are real swings. Even if the percentage is not as much, it's still real money. And I think it's an indication that the markets are a bit worried right now. There's a lot going on. There's talk of trade wars, tariffs, tit-for-tat measures, whatever you want to call it. That's got some people disturbed. Now, we still have some good fundamentals. We're going to be seeing that as we move through earnings season. You got first quarter earnings for the S&P 500 in the 17% growth range. That's phenomenal. That's fantastic. Could be the best growth that we've seen in probably 7 years or so, back to about 2011. You got tax reform starting to kick in. We know that's going to be a big benefit for a lot of corporations. Fundamentals looking pretty good. The overall economy, fairly positive footing, not just in the U.S., but globally as well. You've got G7 economies looking relatively strong. And, of course, we all know that when that happens, you've got a situation where the Fed will be tightening. With the Fed tightening, any little shock to the system in that kind of it, first of all, it's tough enough for the Fed to do a little bit of quantitative tightening to begin with and to raise rates without causing a recession. You add any kind of shock to the markets on top of that, And that's when you've got yourself set up for one of those 1,000-point days or more. And we're at some critical points in the market right now, I think.
Well, I'm looking for more of those 1,000-point days in both directions, but I'm particularly concerned. Sell may go away, and we may see a little resiliency here in April, unless we start really taking out some key resistance levels to the downside, to the upside. I think between now and the fall, particularly with the midterm elections. I think the market was telling us something when it reversed so sharply in February, Sinclair. I think that wasn't just a little bit of a dip. I think it was a shot across the bow. That's my reading of it, at least at the moment.
I think you're right, and I think we've been between these areas of support and resistance for quite some time. Usually when there's a break up or down, it's usually a fairly violent move. So we shall see what happens. Where do stocks go from here? We could have a great year. We could finish out a great year if nothing goes wrong. If something goes wrong, this could be a really scary, scary year.
Well, if you look at the charts of the Dow or the S&P, the strong advance we've had here in the last year or two, a bigger shake still could be within the context of a big picture bull market. We've seen these shakes over the decades, and Dow could be 18 or 19,000, and then it could be 28, 30,000 2 years from now. So we'll just have to flow with it. My good friend Sinclair No from KFNN 1510 Phoenix, and author of the incomparable blog EatTheBankers.com. I really appreciate you taking a few moments on the Saturday morning, Sinclair, and thank you for joining us.
Always a pleasure. Thank you, Mark.
Sinclair No from KFN 1510. And as we do each week, we close our show with what Ed Hart used to say, most appropriate in this particular discussion, of course. We will know in the fullness of time. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for listening to Wall Street Raw with nationally recognized market timer and previous Wall Street Week Out, Mark Leibovit. If you missed any of today's show or to get in touch with Mark, please go to wallstreetrawradio.com. Any stocks or investment discussed on Wall Street Raw are not in any way a recommendation or solicitation to buy, sell, or hold. We first recommend you seek out a licensed financial professional for advice. Go to wallstreetrawradio.com for more information on Mark's newsletters and products.
High-performance investors and traders use superior financial tools to achieve superior returns. You have that tool with Mark Leibovit, nationally renowned top market timer, legendary television Wall Street Week elf, and nightly business report market monitor, who shares with you his unique market tools and commentary at wallstreetraw.com. Here, Mark provides you with his latest ideas on how to help build and protect your wealth and help you avoid the next big market tsunami. Mark has a special free gift for listeners of his Wall Street Raw radio show. Go to wallstreetraw.com and sign up for his free monthly Cannabis Vice News Raw report. While there, go ahead and sign up for his free monthly Gold News Raw report. Both are totally free. No credit card information is required, and no one will call. Sign up today for your free Cannabis Vice News Raw report and Gold News Raw report at wallstreetraw.com.
This is Dan Pilla. Do you owe the IRS money you can't pay? Are tax debts crippling you? I've defended people from the IRS for over 30 years. I've helped thousands, and I can help you too. I wrote the book on IRS settlement, and I'm telling you, there's no such thing as a hopeless case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX to finally get free of IRS debt. With the IRS's new programs, there's never been a better time to solve your problem. Call 800-34-NO-TAX. That's 800-34-NO-TAX, or my website, danpilla.com.
Face it, today's electric power grid is more vulnerable than ever. From natural disasters to EMP attacks and hacking, the grid could be crippled for days or even decades in the most dire scenarios. Visit quantumharvest.net to see our built-to-last EMP-protected solar power systems. While millions suffer, you'll have vital power for water pumps, refrigeration, and sanitation. Now that's peace of mind. EMP-protected solar power systems for every need and budget. See our full range at quantumharvest.net.